Okay, so today we'll discuss the control unit. So control unit generates the control signal such as your read control signal, write control signal, or a control signal that is used to enable some parts of the computer, like enabling the data path, okay, or enabling some register buffers. So all these are the control signals. So during the execution of an instruction, these control signals are very much required to complete the execution of the instructions. So there are two types of control units that generates the control signal. So the first one is hardware control unit, and the second one is microprogram control unit. This first one, hardware control unit, generates the control signal by using the hardware components like your logic gates, the combinational circuits, and then microprogram control unit. It is software based. So microprogram is used to generate the control signals. So now let us discuss these two control signals. So as I discussed that there are two types of control signal generators: hardware control and microprogram control. So the hardware control unit, it is made up of the hardware components like your logic gates, flip-flops, decoders, and other digital circuits. The advantage of this hardware control unit is it is very fast because it uses the hardware. So whenever it generates the control signal for any instruction, just one uh, within with a clock cycle, the control signal is generated instantly because the hardware is used. Okay, so it is very fast. But there are some disadvantage of hardware control unit. It is not flexible because the hardware components are used for generating the control signal here. So there is some limitations for complex instruction set. It cannot be used. Okay, and this is the reason why this hardware control unit is used in the RISC instruction set architecture. And we know that in RISC instruction set architecture, the instructions are very simple. Okay, but in case of CISC architecture, the instructions are complex. So this hardware control unit is not used in CISC architecture. It is used in the RISC architecture for this region. Okay, and the second disadvantage is if you change the design of your processor, then you need to change the wiring also. Wirings are required to interconnect the hardware components. So for changing the design, you have to also change the wirings. So this is a tedious task. Okay, so these are the disadvantages of the hardware control unit. Okay, but the advantage is it is very fast. Okay, and this is basically used in the RISC architecture processor. So here in this slide, I'm going to explain how the hardware control unit generates the control signals and what are the components of hardware control unit. So this is the diagram which shows the hardware control unit. So there is a decoder and encoder unit, and there are several inputs to this unit. Like there is a external input to this component. External input is connected, then condition codes also connected to this. Okay, then instruction register has instruction in it. So instructions are coming from it, and that is decoded by this decoder component. Okay, and after the instruction is decoded, then that is again encoded using all these inputs, external inputs like your memory function complete rate signal or any interrupt signal, and condition codes like any buffer status. Okay, and then this counter step control step counter, it actually it tells which stage of the instruction execution the instruction is now. Okay, it is the current stage of the instruction execution. Like we know that there are different stages of instruction execution, like instruction phase is a stage, then the instruction decode is another stage, then ALU operation is another stage, then memory operation and the register write. All these are different stages of execution of the instruction during the instruction execution life cycle. So in which stage the instruction is now, so that current stage is given by this control step counter. Okay, and we know that in a RISC computer architecture, normally five stages are used. Okay, so in which stage the instruction currently is now, so that stage is given by this unit. Okay, and the stage of the instruction execution that oscillates between the stage 1 to stage 5. Okay, so and that is incremented with the clock signal. So this clock generates the clock signal, and with each clock signal this counter value is incremented. Okay, so initially the counter value will be 1. That means the instruction is in the stage 1. Stage 1 means instruction phase. Okay, and when the clock in the next clock cycle, this counter step value will be incremented and will become 2. So when the counter value is 2, that means the instruction is in ID stage, I mean instruction decode stage. So like this it will be incremented and will go up to say 5 to the fifth stage, like storing the result. Okay, so after that it will again reset. It will again come to the first stage, that is instruction phase for the next instruction. Likewise, it actually oscillates between the first stage to the fifth stage. So this actually gives the current stage of the instruction execution, at which stage the current instruction is present now. Okay. So this input is given by this unit to this decoder and encoder unit. Okay. So taking all these inputs, this encoder here, this generates the control signals. Okay, and these are the control signals. These are generated by this control unit. Like we have this control signal like PC out, MAR in, read. All these are control signals, and these are actually generated at different steps. Okay, and these different steps are generated by this step counter. Okay. So I just discussed this one in the previous slide, that these are the control steps and these are the control signals, and these are generated by this encoder here. Okay, this control step counter, it tells the current stage of the execution, like whether the instruction is in instruction phase. IF means instruction phase. Okay, whether it is in IF stage or whether it is in the ID stage. ID means instruction decode stage, or whether it is in EX stage. EX means ALU operation stage. Okay, or it is in MEM stage. MEM means memory operation, or it is write back stage. Write back means if the instruction needs to write the data or result in some register. So in which stage the instruction is now, that is given by this control step counter. Okay. So and the control step counter value is incremented with the clock signal value. Okay. At each clock signal value, it is incremented. It goes up to 5, and then again it starts from 1. Okay, it is reset. And these are the external inputs like MFC, memory function completed, and interrupt signals. These also come during the execution of the instruction. There may be some interrupts. Okay, or if the instruction is reading something from memory, it waits for a memory function completed signal. So that signal comes from the external devices. Okay, I mean external from the memory. And there are some condition codes also, like the status of the buffer or status register, whether the result is 0 or parity bit or the carry flag or sign bit. So all these are different conditional codes. Based on this, the signal will be generated. Okay, and here the instruction register stores the instruction. After fetching the instruction present here in the IR register, and then that is taken by the decoder, that is decoded, and after decoding, we get to know that what to do, whether addition is to be done or subtraction is to be done or what to do. And for that instruction, the control signals are generated, taking all these inputs. Okay, so for that instruction, and which stage it is now, that is taken from this component, and if there is some external inputs, it is taken from here, and the condition codes is taken from here. So taking all these things into account, the control signals are generated here. Okay, these are the all control signals. So this is the block diagram of the complete hardware control unit. Here the encoder and decoder, these are separated, okay, and the control step counter is also separated from the step decoder, okay. So you can see here the instruction register is present here. Instruction register stores the instruction. After the instruction is fetched from the memory, it is stored in the instruction register, and then that is taken by the instruction decoder. The instruction decoder decodes the instruction, and after decoding, see, the instruction decoder has several micro instructions connected to it. So whenever the instruction is decoded, any one of these instructions or micro instructions or commands will be activated. Okay, any one of these. Suppose the instruction is add, then the micro instruction or command for the add instruction among these will be activated. Okay, so whatever is the instruction that is activated here, and that comes to this encoder, and now encoder knows what to do, whether it is to addition or to subtraction or multiplication or division, it knows now. And then it takes the external inputs like MFC or interrupt signal, if there is some, it takes from here, and then condition code it takes from here, okay. And the step counter is incremented, like I told that the value is incremented from 1 to 5, and again it comes to 1, like this it oscillates. So at which value it is, like 1, 2, 3, or whatever is value, so based on that, the step decoder, I mean, which step it is now, whether it is in the IF stage step, or in the ID step, or in the EX stage. So whatever state it is decoded here, and that step is given to this encoder. So this encoder takes all these inputs, means which stage it is now, and which instruction it takes from this side, and if there is some external input takes from here, and the condition code it takes from here. So taking all these things into account, it generates the control signals, okay. And this run signal is basically used to suspend, if the run value is 1, then this step counter will be incremented to point to the next stage of the instruction execution, okay. And if the value of run is 0, then this counter value will not be incremented, it will be remain like that, okay. Because in some in the instruction, whenever the instruction reads some data from the memory, so it has to wait, okay, processor has to wait, because it takes some time. If the data has to come from the memory instead of cache memory, then it will take some time, it will take more time. So in that case, the run should be made to 0, okay. So whenever the run value is 0, this step counter value will not be incremented, it will be in that it will be as it is, okay. So when this value is incremented, then it will go to the next step of the instruction execution. So if this run value is 1, then it will be incremented, and the instruction execution step will be decoded accordingly, okay. So this happens. And reset, like if you want to if one instruction is completed using all the stages of the instruction execution, like from fetching to the writing result, so it needs to be reset to point to the first stage again, okay, to the first stage, that is 1, okay. I told you that this counter value oscillates between 1 to 5, okay. So it is starting at the beginning it is 1, then it is incremented to, then it is incremented to 3, like this it is incremented to 5, okay. And then it is again reset to 1, okay, then it is again incremented like that, okay. So this reset is used for that purpose. So this end signal is used to end the execution of the current signal, okay. So this is the whole picture of the hardware control unit, and this way the hardware control unit generates the control signal, okay. So any question, students? Any question? Okay. If you don't have any question, then I'm moving to the next slide. So the hardware control unit generates the control signal. Like I told you that several control signals are there. Like we have Y in, PC out, or Z in, R, and all these are different control signals. Okay. Suppose you take how Z in is generated. So this is the formula. See, Zn equals to T1 dot T6 dot R, T1 plus T6 dot R plus T4 dot BR. So that means meaning of this is uh, this Zn, it may be activated. Okay, Zn signal is at time 6. Okay, at time 6, when odd signal, for the odd signal it may be activated, okay. Or at t1 time t1 it may be activated. See, this plus means or, plus means or. This ZIN signal, control signal, it may be activated at time T1, or it may be activated at time T6 for this R signal, or it may be activated at time T4 for this branch signal. So likewise, meaning of this is this, and this is the hardware organization of this signal ZIN. You can see. Okay, this is AND signal means at T4 branch signal, for at T4, and for the branch instruction this is activated. Okay, and this is for the add instruction at time T6, this is activated. Okay, and you can see this is your OR gate. So either this or this or this. Okay, so this is the signal generation. Okay, using hardware control. Okay, so this run signal I just explained in the previous slide that when this run is 1, then the step counter value is implemented, and when this run is 0, this step counter value is not implemented. Okay. So any question, students? Any question? Any question, students? Okay, no
No,
question.
sir.
Okay. Okay, this is the complete processor architecture you can see here. This is the system bus, memory, main memory, then input output unit. Okay, then bus interface, this one, and this is the instruction cache, then this is data cache. Okay, and we have different units in the processor. Okay, this is the processor. Inside processor we have this, we have bus, we have cache memory. I told you that the L1 cache is present inside the processor chip. All these are L1 caches. So L1 cache is again divided into two types. One cache is for the instruction, the other cache is for the data. Okay, and then we have instruction unit for instruction. Okay, for handling instruction. Then we have integer unit for handling the integer data. We have floating point for handling the floating point type of data. Okay, so this is the complete picture of the processor. Okay, the next is microprogram control unit. So how the control signal is generated by using the microprogram control unit. So this is how it is generated. So all the control signals are actually stored in a memory that is known as control store. Okay, so these are the control signals, and these are stored in memory that is known as control store. And you see, these are written this way in a table format. So PC in, PC out, all these instructions. These are all the individual control signals. They're written in table like this, and uh, you see these are the micro instructions. So this is first micro instruction, the second micro instruction, third micro instruction, like this. So the first micro instruction, you can see here, this is the first micro instruction, and here in the first micro instruction we have PC out, we have MAR in, we have read signal, and then we have select for, then we have ART, then we have Z in. So these will be activated. You can see PC in is not there here, so PC out is there, so PC out is 1. Then MAR in is there, so MAR in is 1. Okay, read is there, so read is 1. So whatever is present in this first instruction, that value will be activated here, 1. Okay, similarly for all other steps, those things will be activated. Okay, so all these are one micro instruction, all these are one micro instructions. And we also say that these are control words, all these are control words. So all these are stored in the control store, that's a memory in the computer, or in the computer RAM or in the ROM. So these are fetched during the instruction execution. Okay, and after fetching they generate the control signal. These control signals are generated. Okay, so the collection of all these micro instructions is known as micro routine. Okay, so this is micro routine. An individual instruction or control word is known as micro instruction. So this is a micro instruction. Okay, and this collection of all these is known as a micro routine. And these are stored. All these micro routines are stored in the control store. Okay, so the control store may be stored in the main memory, or it may be stored in the ROM also. Okay. So this is the organization of microprogram control unit. You can see here. So the instruction, there is instruction register which stores the instruction based on the memory, and this is the component which gives the address of the instruction. Okay, Address of the starting address of the instruction or the branch instruction is generated here. Okay, and that address is loaded here into the microprogram control unit. See, in normal computer organization, we know that there is a program counter that gives the address of the instruction. But here we are using micro program counter because I told you that there are some micro instructions used here, and these micro instructions are used to generate the control signals. And here we are using micro program counter. So this micro program counter gives address of the next micro instruction. Okay, so the next micro instruction address is generated here, and that is loaded here into this micro program counter. And with the clock signal, okay, this microprogram counter will give the address. Okay, and here, based on that address, the control store has all the micro instructions, and from this control store, the micro instruction whose address is taken from here from the microprogram control unit. So that micro instruction is selected from here, that is generated here. Okay, and here see, some there are external inputs are also there, and condition codes are also there. Okay, so the instruction is taken from here, that is decoded, and after decoding, that the address of the which instruction will be executed. Okay, and which micro instruction will be executed based on these input factors, that is selected, and that address is generated here, that address is loaded here into the microprogram control unit. Okay, and that is identified here uh, in the control store. I told you that control store stores all the micro instructions. It has all the micro instructions present here. So one micro instruction based on this address from the microprogram control unit, that is selected, and that is generated here. Control word, one control word is generated here. Okay, so this is how the microprogram control unit generates the control signal. Okay, so any question?
Sir, it is programmed, sir.
Yes, it is program.
Program.
It is program. Okay, it is microprogram control unit.
And sir,
Okay,
that one was made with using components, wired one,
yeah, that was the
hardwired.
hardware component, that was using a hardware component. The control unit that uses hardware components. Okay, and this is using program software. This is using software program. Microprograms are used here. Okay, and microprograms are present here. Microprograms are present here, and the address of which microprogram will be, I mean, which instruction. This microprogram is present here, and microprogram consists of several micro instructions. Now, which micro instruction will be executed, that is selected here based on this microprogram counter value. Okay, and the microprogram counter gives the address. Who gives the address? So this component generates the address of that, and that is loaded here into this microprogram control. Okay, and based on this address, the micro instruction is selected from here, that is generated here. Okay, based on that, the signal is generated. And since this is a software based control unit, so if the um, instruction set is complex, so for complex instruction set it can also be used. It is basically used in the complex instruction set. For a CISC computer architecture, this microprogram control unit is used because it is software based, so it can handle all the complex operations. Okay, and it is very flexible. Okay, that's why it is used in the CISC architecture. Any question? This control store is present here. This is the control store. This one. I mean, control store is a memory where this micro routine. This is the micro routine. Micro routine is this one. Okay. It is actually set of micro instructions. Set of micro instruction is known as micro routine. So all this micro routine is present in a memory that is known as control store. Okay. So this is that control store. Okay. So any question?
So sir, program micro program counter is generating sir control
Yes.
signal.
This is microprogram counter. It gives the address of the next micro instruction, and based on that address, the micro instruction is selected from here. It is fetched from this control store. Okay.
Yes, sir, understood.
Okay. So this micro instruction in the control store, it is organized in two ways. One is horizontal organization. Okay, the other one is vertical organization. You can see this is horizontal organization. So all these are the control signals, and these are the micro instructions. So you can see here the first micro instruction is this one. This one. Okay, so this is horizontal organization. So this is the micro instruction. This is taken. First this will be fetched, then this will be fetched, then this will be fetched like this. So this is executed, then this like this. So it is taken horizontal manner. Okay, this is horizontal organization. But the problem with this is that if there are say lot of control signals, okay, in the program, then this will be very large. Okay, so this is the problem with this. Okay, this is the drawback. So to solve that, we can use this vertical organization. We can use, okay, vertical organization. Vertical organization, individual control signals are selected. You see here, this is the individual control signals. So you first take PCIN. So PCIN will be activated in the for the micro instruction one, and for only for micro instruction two it is activated, and PC out only for micro instruction one. Okay, MAR in here for micro instruction one and micro instruction four, like this. So these are the vertical organization, like this. It will be placed like this, vertical organization. Okay. So with this, the control unit is complete. So any question? If you have any question, then ask me. Otherwise, I'll move to the next section. Okay. Since there is no question, I'm moving to the next section. Okay. So we'll discuss now the instruction execution cycle. So whenever an instruction is executed, it goes through different phases. Okay, so these are the phases. So first phase is your instruction fetch, second is instruction decode, third is in operand fetch, then next one is execute, and the last one is storage. Okay, and then it is again started to the next instruction. So next instruction is started here begin. Okay, so in the instruction fetch, what happens, the instruction is fetched from the memory, that is from the program storage. Okay, based on the program counter value. Okay, and then in the instruction decode phase, what happens, the instruction is decoded. Okay, that means what actions is to be performed, that is known here, that is determined. Okay, the instruction is decoded. After decoding, it is known that what to do, whether is to do addition or to do subtraction or multiplication, whatever is to be done, that is known here. Okay, in this stage. And then after decoding the instruction, for suppose it is to add the operands, then you require the operands value. So you have to fetch the operands. So the operand fetching is done here in the next step. Operand fetch. Okay. The operand may be present in the memory, or it may be present in the register. Okay. So that is done here in this case. Then execute. So after knowing what operation is to done and fetching the operand, then that is executed here. ALU operation is done here. Okay. ALU operates on the operands based on the operator. Okay. Compute the result, and then after computing the result is found, and the result need to be stored somewhere. Okay, so it may be stored in the register, or it may be stored in the memory also. So that is done in this step. Okay. And then next instruction. So this is the instruction execution cycle. Okay, so for the next instruction, the PC value is incremented by 4. Okay, so any question?
No, sir.
Now I'll discuss a simple implementation of a risk architecture. Okay, so in a risk based processor, these are the stages or phases or steps are used for executing an instruction. So here five stages are used. Okay, so I show you here, these are the things or steps that used for the execution of an instruction. So all these stages are actually divided into five stages. Okay, in case of risk architecture, you see all these are the phases. Okay, stages or phases or step, whatever you can say. So in case of RISC architecture, it is divided into 5 phases. Okay, so the whole instruction execution can be done in these 5 phases. Okay, the first phase is instruction fetch. Okay, so this is known as instruction fetch cycle, because all these stages or steps are done using one clock cycle. So all these phases, they take one clock cycle. Okay, so that's why here written cycle. So this first stage is known as instruction fetch cycle. Okay, in short, it is IF. And second stage is instruction decode slash register fetch cycle. So here two things are done. The instruction is decoded and register is read. Okay, so instruction is decoded. That means what? So what operation is to be done? That is determined here based on the opcode value of the instruction. And after that, what to do? You need to fetch the operand. Okay, so the operand may be present in the register, or the operand may be present in the memory. Okay, so if the operand is present in the register, then that can be read here in this stage, register fetch cycle. Okay, so here in the second stage, two things are done. First thing is instruction decode is done. Second is register fetch is done. Okay, so register fetch means the operand is read here in this stage. Okay, and this stage is in short we say this as ID. Okay, ID fetch, instruction decode. The next phase is execution and effective address cycle. In short, it is EX. Okay. So here, after knowing what operation is to done and after fetching the operands, so the execution is done here. That means the ALU operation is done here. Okay. So ALU operates on the operands fetched from here, and it operates based on the operator. Okay. So that is done here. ALU operates here. Okay. And if you require some effective address of something, okay, some data or instruction, then that is done here. Okay, if the data, see here we fetch the uh, data from the register, that is done here. If the data need to be read from the memory, I mean you require data from the memory, then what to do? You require the address of the particular memory location where you need to read that data. So that address is found here in this stage, effective address cycle. Okay. So if the data is present in the memory, then the address of that memory is calculated here in this stage. So here in the third stage, two things are done. First is if all the operands are available, then the ALU operates on those operands, execution is done. Okay. And if the instruction is to bring the data from the memory, then the address of that memory location is found here. That is effective address is calculated here in this stage. Okay. So this stage is known as EX stage. Okay. And then next stage is MEM access. Okay, that is memory access. So memory access, in short we say this as MEM, and here memory is accessed. Okay, suppose your instruction is to read data from the memory. So here you calculated the address of the memory location from where you will read data. So after getting address, here in this stage you will read the data from memory. Okay, in the memory access phase. Okay, or your instruction is to write data in the memory. So you found here address here in this stage, effective address you calculated. Okay, and then you can write here. So in this stage, in the MEM or memory access stage, data can be written in the memory or data can be read from the memory. So memory access is done here. Okay, so memory read can be done or memory write can also be done here. Then the last stage is if the instruction is saying that to write the data in the register, then that is done here in this stage, in the fifth stage. Okay, that is in short it is known as WB stage. So these are all the 5 stages of a RISC instruction set architecture for executing the instruction. Okay, any question? Any question, students? Okay.
Sir,
So,
those
huh?
same six execution cycle steps are, so
Sorry.
these are same thing, sir.
Yeah, it is same thing. Whatever you saw here, these are actually the general things that is happening during the execution of an instruction. These are happening. These things are done. Okay, these are general. Okay, in general this is happening, and this is followed by all different types of architectures. Okay, so see here, you can see store result is done here, operand fetch is done here, but in different architectures these things can be actually combined in different locations. Okay, they can be grouped in different steps. Like here in case of risk architecture, instruction fetch is the same as whatever you saw in the previous slide. Then in the next step you see instruction decode and register fetch. You can see both things are done here in the second step. But here you see instruction decode is in one stage, then operand fetch in the second phase. Okay, but here in this case in risk architecture these two are combined here. Okay, this is for the risk architecture, this is for general case. Okay, this is the in general these things happening, but depending on the different types of architectures, these are used based on the architecture. So
Sir,
in case,
and what is pipeline?
yes, we will discuss that later. We'll discuss. Okay, we'll discuss. So let me delete this here. You should not be confused here with pipeline. Okay, instruction set. Okay, so this is a simple implementation of a risk instruction set. Okay, so in risk, we have these five stages. These are used for executing the instruction. Okay. So any question? You must
No, sir.
understand these things, because from now onwards we will discuss these stages. I will only tell these stages. Okay, I will tell IF, ID, EX, MEM, WB. I will tell these things only. Okay. So IF means instruction fetch. Okay. So in instruction fetch, what happens? The instruction is fetched from the memory based on the program control value. Okay, and then the after fetching the instruction, the program counter value is incremented. So two things are done here. In this stage, two things are done. First, the instruction is fetched based on the program counter value. Then the program counter value is incremented by 4 to point to the next instruction. Then here in this stage, this is known as ID stage, and here two things are done. First is instruction is decoded. Okay, based on the opcode value in the instruction, and then if the operand is present in the register, then that is read here. Okay, register fetch is done. Then in the third stage, execution is done. Execution means ALU operation is done here. So ALU may operate, it may do the addition, subtraction, multiplication, or whatever operation, whatever is decoded here, that may be done here. Or if the instruction is saying that to find, to bring data or to write data in the memory, then you require the address of the memory. So that is the effective address. So effective address is calculated here in this case. That is in the EX stage, two things are happening. Okay, then the next step is MEM stage, and in MEM stage what happens? Memory is accessed. Okay, so we can access memory for two purposes. Either we can access for reading the memory, or we can access the memory for writing data in the memory. Okay, so these two things are done here in this stage. This is known as MEM stage. Okay, and the last stage is the write back stage. In short, it is WB. Okay, so WB means write back. So here in this case, the data is written in the register. Okay, if the instruction is saying that write the data in the register, then you have to write. So that is done here. Okay, in case of load instruction, the data is written in the register. Okay, so what happens in load and in store? Can you tell me the difference between load and store instruction?
Yes, sir. In load, we load the instruction from the memory into the processor.
In case of load, data comes from memory to the
Into
instruction
the processor.
processor register. Processor means it will be stored in register. In processor, where it will be stored? Tell me. In processor, it will be stored in register.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
डेटा स्टोर कहाँ पे होगा? मेमोरी में तो होगा ना. तो इसके अंदर कौन सा मेमोरी है प्रोसेसर के अंदर? रजिस्टर यूज होता है ना. ठीक है, तो वहाँ पर स्टोर होगा. ओके, रजिस्टर में स्टोर होगा. दैट इज लो.
Sir, general purpose, no? General purpose use.
हाँ, जनरल पर्पस रजिस्टर, जनरल पर्पस रजिस्टर. ओके. Okay, then next is store operation. Store means data will go from the processor register to the memory, that is
Memory.
store. Okay, so if the instruction is saying that load, if the instruction is a load instruction, then data will come from the memory. So memory address will find here, okay, and after finding the address, you bring the data from memory here after accessing memory, then write that data here in this stage, write the data into the register. Okay, so these are happening in the during the execution of an instruction in a RISC architecture. Okay, and these are the stages of instruction execution. Five stages are used, and each stage takes one clock cycle. Each stage takes one clock cycle. Remember this. This takes one clock cycle. This takes one clock cycle. This takes one clock cycle. This takes one clock cycle, and this also takes one clock cycle. Okay, is that clear? So here, suppose we have an instruction, it will take maximum 5 clock cycles to complete its execution in a RISC instruction set architecture. Is that clear? 5 clock cycles are required to complete execution of an instruction in a RISC architecture. Okay. So all the instructions has to go through these 5 stages. Okay, and each stage takes 1 clock cycle. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now we'll discuss the data path. Okay. So data path. Can you tell me what is data path? I had told you what is data path. Can you tell me what is data path? Student, can you tell me what is data path?
Sir, data bus.
Data, data path. Okay.
The
So here,
collection of processors,
collection of
so collection of ALU and other processors to perform certain operation.
ALU, processor registers, and the interconnecting bus, the bus. All these are combinedly known as data path, because data flows through that path. Na? Data flows through, it goes from one register to another register via the bus, and it also goes to the ALU also. Yes or no? So this is combination of all. The data path, it is combination of your registers and ALU and bus. Okay, and also the hardware component like this one. Okay, so this is known as data path. So this is a data path for MIPS architecture. MIPS is a one of the architecture. Okay, so MIPS is a one of the processor architecture. Okay, okay. So we just discussed the RISC architecture, okay, and how the instructions are executed in the RISC architecture. We discussed 5 stages are used. You can see 5 stages: IF, ID, EX, MEM, and W. So these are the stages. So all the instructions, they have to go through these stages, okay. And in the IF stage, instruction is fetched and PC value is incremented by 4. In the ID stage, what happens? Instruction is decoded and the operand is read from the register. Then in the EX stage, what happens? The ALU operates on the operand. Okay, it executes on the operand. ALU operation is done, and if there is some memory access, then the address of the memory location is calculated here. There is effective address is calculated here. So ALU is used here in this case. In this stage, ALU hardware is used. Okay. Then in the MEM stage, what happens? Memory is accessed. Okay, and in this case, data memory is used. In the MEM stage, data memory is used because you are writing data or reading data from memory. Okay, but here in this case, in the IF stage, what happens? Which memory is used? Instruction memory is used in the IF stage, because in the IF stage, instruction is fetched from the memory. So instruction is fetched from which memory? From the instruction memory. That's why here instruction memory. Okay. So IF stage is in the IF stage, instruction memory is used, and in the MEM stage, data memory is used. Okay. And then the last stage WB. So here what happens? Register is used. Register is written here. Okay. So this is the sequential execution of instruction done this way. First IF is done, then ID is done, then EX is done, then MEM is done, then WB is done. Okay, and this is the picture. We show these 5 stages. You can see stage one. In stage one, this is done, and these hardwares are used in the stage one. PC is used. PC gives the address, and instruction memory is used for fetching the instruction from the instruction memory. Stage one. In stage 2, register is used because we decode the instruction from the instruction register, and then the register also used read. So that is done here. So that is register is used in this stage. That is stage 2. Okay. In stage 3, ALU is used. Okay. ALU operates here. That's why ALU is used. And in stage 4, memory data memory is used. That's it. That's why it is data memory. Okay. And then in the stage 5, what happens? Register is used again. Register is written. That's why you see here register 5 is coming here. Register is written here. Okay. So this is the data path. Data flows this way. Okay. Data is flowing through these components and using the bus. Okay. And this is the sequential execution of the instructions. And during the sequential execution of an instruction, these stages are used one by one. Okay. First of all, instruction will go through the IF phase, then instruction will go through ID phase, then EX phase, then MEM phase, then WB phase. Okay. So this is all about the execution of an instruction in the RISC instruction set architecture. Okay, and this is the data path diagram. Okay, is that clear or any doubt?
Sir, clear.
Clear, sir.
Okay, okay. So I'm stopping here. Our time is over. So we'll discuss the rest in the next class. Okay.
Sir, one request, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you shift the COA Viva that we have for C2 from Friday to next Wednesday, sir? Because we are having